Welcome to everyone in today's first lesson on 8051 microcontroller. Myself, Manas Kumar Padai. I am attached to the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering, Siliguri Institute of Technology, Siliguri. To express my sincere gratitude, this video is dedicated to Professor Gautam Das, Government Engineering College, Kuchbihar. The objective of preparing this video is to provide a flavor of virtual classroom for both the faculty and the students, those who really love this subject, to build their professional careers. Students can also take this golden opportunity for e-learning from anywhere and anytime. And most important aspect is that after acquiring the knowledge, anybody can build his or her own project, which will be utilized their real-time specific application, or to be submitted to the institute as a part of the course curriculum. So in lesson one, we shall discuss about the embedded system and application of 8051 over there. The application specific integrated circuit will be discussed, followed by the comparison of the microprocessor along with the microcontroller, and it will be followed by choosing criteria and right selection of the microcontroller for a specific application. Finally, the overview of the 8051 microcontroller family and the comparison of the pages from other variant will be discussed. Okay. So one question might be appearing in your mind that what is embedded system? Perhaps all we have heard the term embedded system. It is a very commonly used term in our daily life. So embedded system is a complete, the overall system is not a term as your embedded system. See, embedded system is a part of the overall system. So the part of the overall system, we should do the specific task repeatedly. Okay, so let us take an example like the personal computer, where the mouse, the keyboard, and printers are connected. Okay, so the other peripherals which is connected with the personal computers, these are the good example of your embedded system, because the function of a mouse, function of a keyboard, function of a printer is very specific. Means they will take what is the function of a printer, then it will take the instruction and it will print this job. So that is the function. So function is very specific, as is the mouse, and for the keyboard, same thing is applicable. So for an embedded system is not a overall system, it is the part of the overall system. It may not interact directly with the environment. Okay, so the good example is your personal computer, and you can realize the operation of a printer, the mouse, and the keyboard. So here the list of the other embedded system like the video game player, MP3 music player, the mobile phone units, the domestic appliances, so many applications, so many home appliances are there we are using in our daily life. So what is the function of, what is the difference of the microprocessor and the microcontroller? The first thing is that the microprocessor is a general purpose microprocessor. It is termed as your general purpose microprocessor because the function is very specific, it's very general. And it is only the central processing unit without the other peripherals like the RAM, ROM, like your input-output port, the timer, and the serial COM port. They are not functional. So to make it functional, we have to connect the other peripherals like RAM, ROM, IO port, timer, and serial COM port. Okay. So whenever we are talking about the microcontroller, so we are finding that the CPU is along with the RAM, a specific amount of the RAM is incorporated inside the serialized package. Along with ROM, the input-output port, the timer, and the serial COM port, all are embedded inside the integrated circuit. So this is known as your microcontroller. So microcontroller is a common feature which is providing by the microprocessor along with the external peripheral devices that we are connecting with it. Okay, so it is the microcontroller is termed as the system on chip because all the peripherals, all the other devices are embedded with the central processing unit. So the system is designed within a chip. That is, therefore, it is known as your system on chip. So it is very difficult to choose a particular microcontroller for your specific application. Success or failure of any project is largely dependent on the proper selection of a microcontroller unit. So here we have tried to give you the overview of that unit, which is described as far as the right selection for particular application is concerned. So many manufacturers are there. They are producing the microcontroller in bulk amount. Comparison is based on few leading manufacturers like your Atmel, Philips, Dallas Semiconductor, Freshfield, Microchip system. So the important of the critical points that to be considered here is that the system requirements, the availability, the performance, the size of the device, the power distribution capability, the flexibility, the reliability, the maintainability, environment constraint, the software support, the correctness, safety, cost, and the manufacturer's history and track records. All are the important or the critical factors to be considered whenever a system is to be implemented using the microcontroller. And microcontroller is the heart of the device. So several factors will be focused within this lecture session, and this is the criteria in choosing a microcontroller. So the 3 steps that you have to follow whenever you are going to choose a particular microcontroller for your project or for our specific application. So first of all, you have to specify the system according to your requirement. So what is the requirement of a user? Accordingly, that the particular device will be selected, means it will be specified. So first of all, you prepare the comparison table, because there are so many companies are there, so many manufacturers are there, along with their different features. So you have to prepare a comparison table first, describing all the features of this microcontroller unit. And from here, you just choose the best alternative and finalize your selection, that which microcontroller will meet the requirement, the specific requirement. So at the list of the companies are there, that Intel 8051, or the Microchip, Freescale, Atmel, Dallas Semiconductor like Philips Corporation, Texas Instrument, Zilog, like that. So with the advancement of the semiconductor fabrication technology, manufacturers are able to integrate memory, input, output interface circuitry, timer, serial compute, and the analog to digital converter and other peripherals in the microcontroller. Thus, it is essentially an entire chip is fabricated on a single chip. The single chip microcontrollers are used in consumer products like washing machine, the copiers, AC machines, printers, etc. The high-speed data processing like video conference, real-time compression of and security system, image processing, etc. Automotive system like electronic power steering system, anti-lock braking system, etc. So different industry applications are also there, like your AC and DC motor drives, position control, motion control, etc. So due to integration of all function block on a single chip microcontroller IC, the size of the control board and the power consumptions are reduced, system reliability increased, and also provides flexibility. So all these manufacturing companies are producing different type of the microcontroller as far as the features are concerned. So here is the classification based on their architecture, based on their features. So in 1993, the introduction of the EEPROM allowed microcontroller within the manufacturer Microchip. They are producing the PIC microcontroller, which is to be electrically erased quickly. It allows both rapid prototyping and in-system programming. Okay. The same year, the first microcontroller using flash memory was introduced by Atmel. There is 4-bit to 32-bit microcontrollers are available in the market. Based on the number of the bits, it is broadly classified into 4 different categories, like 4-bit microcontroller, 8-bit microcontroller, 16-bit microcontroller, and 32-bit microcontroller. So 4-bit microcontrollers are extensively used in the electronic toys. All we are familiar with that, the electronic toys. 8-bit microcontrollers are also available. They are generally used in various control applications such as position control, speed control, and any process control system. 16-bit microcontrollers are also very popular, and they are designed and developed for the purpose of high-speed control application such as servo control system, robotics, etc. So programming of such microcontroller can be achieved either by high-level language programming language or by assembly language programming. So for very high-speed operation in the robotics, image processing, automobiles, intelligent control system, and telecommunication, 32-bit microprocessors are extensively used. So here there is several vendors that are manufacturing different type of architecture of the microcontroller. Intel 8051, they already launched this IC 8051 microcontroller chip in 1981. Okay, so 8-bit microcontroller are producing by Freescale, by microchip technology, Zilog. They are also producing the 8-bit microcontroller chip. But Intel is so popular because they allow the other to make the make and market. But all this architecture, whatever is copied by the other manufacturers, but they will be code compatible. Means what the code is defined by Intel, that will be running with the other one. But the 8-bit microcontroller like Freescale, the microchip technology, and Zylox, they are producing the different architecture due to their unique architecture, unique instruction sets and unique register sets are there. They are not compatible with each other. Program written for one will not be running with the through the other microcontroller from the other manufacturers. But Intel is popular in this field because Intel has given this provision to allow other to make and market, but it should be code compatible, definitely. So this is one aspect, that the number of the dozen of the manufacturers are there, but which one, which the manufacturing unit or which the unit microcontroller unit you have to choose, that is the main or the critical point of consideration. Okay, so here is the list of the companies and their product along with their features is described with that. So many vendors and so many features are also described within that. Next, the criteria for choosing the microcontroller. If so many manufacturers are there, so how to choose the particular manufacturer and how to find the particular integrated circuit or particular microcontroller unit for your project or for your specific application purpose. So first thing is that three different criteria are there for choosing a particular microcontroller. So one is the meeting of the computing needs of the task efficiently and cost effectively. Okay. The number two is the availability of the software and the development tool. And the last one is the wide availability and reliable source of the microcontrollers, because there are existing largest number of the diversified suppliers. So multi-source is there. Okay. So the three critical points are to be considered whenever I'm going to choose a particular microcontroller unit for my application. So this is the first one, that is meeting the computing needs of the task, which is efficiently and cost effectively. Okay, so the function means what is that meaning? That the speed, we have to consider the speed, the amount of the ROM, which what are the different features they are described by the different manufacturers. The first thing is the speed, the amount of the ROM, amount of the RAM they have described, or they have fabricated inside the integrated circuit, the number of the input-output ports and the timers, the size, the packaging, the power consumption, all are the main thing that is already described by the different manufacturers, that you have to consider it first. So the first thing is that the compatibility means it is the very important aspect for finding the suitable IC for your application. Compatibility means the function of a system that can be changed or upgraded by changing the software, because all the manufacturers are trying to develop the newer one. So how it will behave with the faster technology or the growing technology. It's how to change or to upgrade by changing the software or replacing the IC with the another one without incurring heavy additional cost. Okay, the new one will be pin compatible as well as the function compatible. So it is the thing that you have to consider whenever you are upgrading your system. Okay, so the most important point is also that the power management. Okay, so power management means power consumed by the system, which is determined by the lifetime of the battery. Due to reduction in the size of the device, the size of the components are reduced and their placement with the design is very compact. So this phenomenon makes the device to be sensitive to the heat dissipated, that is dissipated from the MCU and the other peripherals connected with it. It is the duty of an engineer to look after at the power level or the power required at the clock speed necessarily to run the application. Okay, so this is the power management. Okay, the cost. This is the most important factor. If the system is to be implemented within the limit of the budget that is calculated earlier, The cost of each and every component, the selected MCU along with the supporting ICs used to build the system should be minimized tactfully to fulfill the requirements. Okay, so this is not the cost or the budget for your project. The second important point is the availability of the softwares, availability of the software development tools. Okay, so before going to implement the system, the availability of the device should be checked. The criteria in choosing the microcontroller, is it ready, availability is needed, quantities both now and future. Okay, if sufficient quantities are available with the bright future, then no need to be worried about the failure of the project. Okay, so I think this is clear to everyone. Here the key consideration includes that means assembler, the debugger, a code compiler, and C compiler, emulated, the technical supports. So trend towards the programming in high-level language like C is increasing day by day, as you all aware of this fact. This language allows using of some portability of code and libraries. This provides more practical consideration using the different microcontroller family. Choosing the appropriate hardware and software development tools is also important while selecting an MCU. Okay, so this is the second important point that you have to consider. The third one is the wide availability and reliable source of the microcontroller. The third point is that manufacturers should ensure the stability, okay, the good performance, the better support, reliability, the better serviceability, software support, correctness, wide and timely available of their products. For an example, you can consider one example like product of Intel, the Freescale, Zilog, and the microchip technology are stable, mature, and single sourced. Okay, the points like design challenges, one-time delivery, the performance, year in business, and year of transition. The financial reports should be followed at the track record of the manufacturers. They must provide the data sheet to the user, which is consisting of the characteristics and the functionality of the sample test circuit. So electrical characteristics and dimensions will also be mentioned about here. So the documentation and the maintenance of the development system, the large of the service and its associated software must be available for the common people, for the common user. Okay. So during the step-by-step implementation of the system, if the design engineer faces any kind of the problem, he or she may communicate with the marketing or the salesperson, the field application engineers. The manufacturers should have some facility like a helpline, a toll-free number, a fax number, after-sales support, sufficient knowledge and helpful expertise support personnel who will give a prompt reply or they will follow to a regular manner when they promise to do something. Okay, so it is existing in the market that largest number of the diversified suppliers are there, means multi-source of supply. So which source is reliable, then you should follow which one. Okay. So these are three different criteria that you have to follow whenever you are choosing a particular microcontroller. Now come to the point 8051 basic means or the overview of 8051 microcontroller. It has 4 kilobyte of the internal ROM, 128 byte of 128 byte of. So the amount of the ROM they have given over here is 4 kilobyte. A specific amount of the RAM is also given inside this one. That is 128 byte internal RAM. 4 8-bit input-output port because it has 8-bit input-output port. 4 8-bit input-output port is defined as your port 0, port 1, port 2, and port 3. So it is written as your port 0 to port 3. 2 16-bit timers are there, timers are counter, 1 serial interface is there. So it is embedded inside this integrated circuit and it is just along with the CPU, all the other peripherals is embedded inside a single IC. So therefore, whenever IC is concerned, IC means the microcontroller unit is concerned, we are talking about all the systems along with the CPU. Okay. The next one is the block diagram. So this is the block diagram where we're finding the different interconnection between the peripherals along with the CPU. It is very simplified block diagram. So the block diagram which is actually specified by the manufacturer, so that will be described later. So it is the simplified program. You can find the interconnection between the ROM, the RAM, timer, serial comport, IO ports, and the bus control and the interrupt control units with the CPU is shown over there. Okay. So transmission means PSD. The serial port is means the communication port. As you know that you have to transmit the data, you have to receive the data with the microcontroller along with the which is connected with the, that PC. So with this comport, it will be communicating with the other devices. It has 4 input output ports like port 0, port 2, port 1, port 2, and port 3. So port 0 and 2, these 2 ports are having specific application, like they are using as like your address and data bus, multiplexing address and data bus, as we have already studied during 8085 microprocessor. Okay. So the other, the 4 kilobyte of the ROM, which is given by the manufacturers inside the integrated circuits, and 128 bytes of the RAM is also given. So it is a very simple block diagram which is describing the internal architecture of microcontroller and their interconnections. So other the 8051 features are there. That only it has only one chip oscillator, which is external oscillator is there. 6 interrupt source that will be discussed in the subsequent lessons. That 2 external interrupts are there, 3 internal interrupts are there, along with the reset is the 1 interrupt. Okay. It has 64. It can access 64 external code memory and external 64 external data memory. Code memory is selectable by E, means maybe internal or external. So that will be discussed later. You may have the external memory as data and code. So this is other features. These are the other features of 8051, along with the features that is described in the block diagram. Okay. So next one is the comparison of the features of the different 8051 family members. So as you know that 8051 is the it is manufactured by Intel first, and all the other manufacturers, they are producing the they are just copying the architecture of 8051, but they are code compatible. Okay, so they are I mean the ROM, the RAM, everything is same. For the other manufacturers, those who are copying the architecture of 8051, which is manufactured by Intel. But Intel has its different variants like 8051, 8052, 8031. So what are the different features among the different variants which is manufactured by Intel? So 8031, so starting from this 8031, you can find that 8031 has no ROM which is specified because it has no ROM. So it is ROM-less 8051 basically. Okay, so there is no ROM. So it is 0 kilobyte. So you have, so option is given to the user that you can choose a particular ROM, the size of the ROM, which will be connected with 8031 to make it functional. Okay. So all the other features like RAM is 128 bytes of RAM is existing in 8051, which is later it is modified with the higher version of 8051, that is 8052. Here you can find 256 bytes of the RAM is available. The timers for 8051 it is 2, for 8052 it is 32, and 8031 it is 32. The serial port is one serial port is available for each and every variation. Okay, 8051, 8052, or 8031. The interrupt sources are 6 for 8051, 8 for 8052, and 8031 it is 6. So 8051 is the subset of 8052. So you can run the project, run your program with 8051, and same it will be running with 8052. But whenever any program is written for 8052, it might not be running with 8051. That will be clarified in subsequent lessons. So here the comparison of the different 80 family members are also given by, which is specially defined for the Atmel license, because Atmel is the one kind of the manufacturers who are providing a very low cost integrated circuits. Okay, so 8951 is nothing but 8051, but it is manufactured by Atmel. So same to same, the configuration is there. Like ROM is 4 kilobyte, RAM is 128 bytes, the timer is 2, and the interrupt source is 6. IO pins is 32. Which there are 4 different ports are there. All are having 8-bit because it is 8-bit microcontroller. 8-bit microcontroller means it can handle 8-bit data at a time. Okay. So 8951, which is designed with the design of Intel, because Intel they are copying the flavor of, means any kind of the structure, any kind of design they can do, but it will take the flavor of 8051, which is manufactured by Intel. So 8951, which is manufactured by Atmel, this program which is written for Atmel or for 8051, that will be running with the IC of Atmel also. Okay. So Atmel, they have designated the IC like 89551, but it is actually 8051, which is manufactured by Atmel, because it is code compatible and all the features which is developed by Intel, that is incorporated over here. 8952, it is nothing but 8052 of your Atmel. But other variation, you can see that 8953, the ROM is also modified, means ROM, the ROM is upgraded, the RAM is upgraded, the timer, all are different from the different manufacturing unit. Okay. So special watchdog timer is also included with 8953. The analog comparator is there. The in-system, some ICs are in-system programmable. Okay. So in-system programmable, so within the circuit, within that system, you can program it. That is known as in-system programmable. See, it is the complete architecture that you can find from the book of Mazidi and Mazidi. That book is very popular for the students. So this kind of the architecture is quite complex. Whenever we have already talked about the simplified block diagram, but it is little bit this extended version of the simplified block diagram. That is, port is 4 means port 0. All the 8 pins are shown over here. Like port 2, it's shown over there. So here you see that port 1 is here and port 3 is here. So it is oriented in such a way that whenever you are pressing this architecture directly inside the integrated circuit, it will look like this, because all the pins are available oriented in this manner. Like port 1 is in the left hand side, when the odd number of pins, odd number of the ports are oriented in the left hand side, and in the right hand side, only even number of ports are oriented. Okay. So don't forget this concept. The odd number of ports are oriented in the left hand side, and the even number of the ports are oriented in the right hand side. So port 1 and port 3, these are oriented in the left hand side. And you can see that here is a notch over there, means IC is placed in the horizontal way. So we are finding in the left hand side of this IC, that is port number 1 and port number 3, while are having the same same number of pins, that is 8 number of pins are there for port 1 to port 3. So port 1 is divided by port 1.0, port 1.1. So each and every pin is described or designated along with its port identity. That is port 1.0, port 1.1, port, and up to port 1.7. Similarly, for port 0 and port 2 and port 3 also. Okay. So here it is again, it is decomposed with the several blocks, like your ALU, the stack pointer, the timers, the buffer. So all are shown over here. But if we fabricate this, if we integrate this specific block diagram, then it will look like the simplified block diagram that we have learned in few previous slides. So this is the complete architecture. So as far as the examination is concerned, if the mass is given like 2 or 3, the students are most of the students are generally preferred. They will prefer the simplified architecture. But it is also recommended that as per your budget, as per your the mass is given, so you can draw the particular circuit diagram, particular block diagram as well. So it looked like a very complex one, but actually it is decomposed. I mean, the simplified block diagram is again decomposed into several blocks, so that the complete architecture, you are finding the complete architecture. So the next part is that whenever we're talking about the pinout diagram of the ISRC, because it is actually what is inside the integrated circuits, but all the architectures, means all the architectural point of view, all are connected with the actually the pin number of the integrated circuit or the particular MCU or the microcontroller unit, that is 8051. So it is the schematic view, because it will be easy to draw the circuit diagram with this one, the schematic pinout diagram. Okay, so 8051, if you draw this diagram, that will be very much helpful for designing the schematic diagram. So all the pins are oriented like this one, and the port number 3, the pins for the port number 3, These are special function of the port 3. These are the interrupt. They are basically used to interrupt, used for the interrupt purpose. So that will be discussed in one chapter in the next session. Okay. And this is the 8051 footprint. Means it is actually the pinout diagram of the MCU, that is 8051. And it is also same attitude 8031, 8751, 8951. So whatever the ICs that is coming with that 8051, whether it may be manufactured by Intel or manufactured by Atmel or Dallas Semiconductor or the Philips, whatever it may be. But actually, pinout diagram is this, means you can replace one IC with the IC of the other manufacturers. Like 8751, it is the IC for which is manufactured by Philips, or say other manufacturing company. So you can choose the particular microcontroller unit as per your specific requirement. Whether the Philips is also given, they are also providing the facility of the one-time programmable integrated circuits, one-time programmable microcontroller unit. Because to reduce the cost, means whenever your design is final, then what you can do, that you can ask for designing the particular integrated circuit, particular MC unit to the manufacturer, so that they will design one-time applicable, means one-time programmable device they can manufacture. In this way, you can reduce the cost. Okay, and few other manufacturers, they are also providing the facility of erasable programmable ROM. But the Atmel, the manufacturer Atmel, they are providing the flash memory. Flash memory means that you can erase the program before burning it. Okay, so that is the most important thing, is that whenever electrically erasable programmable ROM you are choosing, then what will happen? Then you have to erase the program before burning it. So you have to follow up. There must be one window over which you are just allowing to fall the ultraviolet ray. It will take 20 minutes minimum to erase the program. Again, you have to burn the program. So the two kits are required. Two kits means one is to erase the program and another one is to burn the program. Means the newer program will be burning into the integrated circuit or the microcontroller unit. So therefore, whenever you are choosing a particular microcontroller, you should remember that whenever it is electrically erasable programmable or not, whenever it is flash memory, it is flash memory or not, whether it is giving me that facility of replacing it, whether it is giving me the provision for one-time programmable or many time I can program it, because the students will prefer the many time programmable ICs, because once we are finding this is the project and I have to design with 8051. So once I am writing the program, that may not be final, because I have to modify it time to time. I have to modify it. Again, I have to burn the program inside the integrated circuit. Therefore, the problem is that whenever I'm choosing a many time program, so the Atmel IC can give you the provision for 10,000 times you can burn the program, you can erase the program. Okay, so the two student will prefer the IC of Atmel because it is low cost IC and performance is better, and obviously the 10,000 times you can erase the program, you can burn the program. Therefore, students and most of the the educational unit will prefer the IC which is manufactured by Atmel. So this is the summary of my discussion, that the embedded system and the application of the microcontroller. Means we have discussed about the embedded system and the microcontroller, how they will build with the integrated chip like your microcontroller unit. So it is clearly distinguished between the microcontroller and the general purpose microprocessor. So we have that clear picture now, that how the microcontroller is taking the field of the electronics and communication engineering part over the microprocessor. So the several criteria is already discussed with that, how to choose the particular or how to select the right microcontroller for your project or for your specific application. We have discussed about the overview of the 8051 family. What are the different members are there? What are the different manufacturers are there? What are the different features are there? So according to that features, we have compared the different features of the different or the various 8051 microcontroller manufacturers. So detailed architecture and the programming level of programming technique and the prototype design methodology will be discussed through the subsequent lessons. Okay. So this is the first lesson. So you should study this part up to this part only, because after the subsequent lessons we should study the detailed architecture of 8051, the assembly language programming techniques, and the prototype design methodology. Okay, so if you find this video is very helpful, then kindly share it, kindly like it, and kindly subscribe my channel to get notification of the next lessons. Thank you all. Thank you very much.